Today on Fresno State Focus, we'll check in to see how it's going for some students who are back on campus.
And we'll see how field workers are staying warm during this season.
Plus, where are the lines for the much anticipated PS5? We'll see how people who did get it are liking it. Fresno State Focus starts now.
Hello, and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Sammy Cortez.
And I'm Jalise Graham.
Day of Giving donations are making a big impact, an impact that adds to the success of thousands of Bulldogs. Fresno State's 4th annual Day of Giving fundraiser happened on Tuesday. In just 24 hours, the university raised well over $400,000. For the 4th year in a row, the College of Arts and Humanities won the most donors. Dr. Honora Chapman, the dean of the winning college, says the money raised is a pot of gold.
What I love so much about Fresno State students is you so appreciate your learning. You don't take it for granted. And that's the spirit of our college, is bringing the best to you so that you can thrive in your future careers, whatever you choose to do.
That pot of gold goes to students like Tony Salazar, who received a scholarship funded through Day of Giving donations, and Annabella Monzon, who received support for sculpture making supplies. During non-COVID times, students also received travel grants to places like Camp News, a training ground with news professionals. This year alone, over 350 transgender Americans have been killed for the way they live their lives. A fifth of those were killed in their own homes. Tomorrow, the Cross Cultural and Gender Center takes part in Transgender Day, a day of remembrance for all those lost because of transphobia.
In the past, the Cross Cultural and Gender Center would hold an event to remember and honor the lives of those lost. This year, the event will be digital on Zoom. For more information, visit at Fresno State CCGC on Instagram. Fresno County is back in the purple tier because of an increase in coronavirus cases. Hair salons and retail stores will remain open at 25% capacity. Nail salons, personal care services will remain open but with modifications. Restaurants, zoos, museums, aquariums, churches, movie theaters, and gyms will remain outdoors. Schools, theme parks, breweries, and bars had to close again. The city of Fresno will not fine businesses this time around unless there are a lot of citizen complaints. Schools, however, are staying open, at least the ones that already have the waiver to be open. All students were given the option to continue distance learning for the rest of the year or return to campus. Each Clovis Unified School has its own reopening process based on the survey responses they received from parents and teachers. Face masks, physical distancing, and hand washing are mandatory on all campuses. For some parents, education is worth the risk of exposure.
It's been great in the fact that they have some normalcy, but this entire time their education has definitely been lacking and suffering.
The district hopes to have all students back on track and back on campus by January, but will continue distance learning for those not comfortable going back. Teachers in Sanger Unified School District were required to return to campus in early November. Unlike other districts, parents and teachers were not involved in the reopening planning process. Parents were surveyed after complaints were made. Sanger students are on campus 4 days a week, either in the morning or afternoon for about 3 hours at a time. The rest of the day, students work independently from home. Mondays are all online. Despite the frustrations with the reopening process, some parents are happy to have their kids back in the classroom.
My kids love school, so I don't want to take that away from them. And I just feel like the school is doing as much as they can to keep them safe.
Each grade is being brought back one at a time. Sanger Unified hopes that all elementary school grade students will be able to be back on campus together by January 11th.
Did you get your PlayStation 5? It was released on September 16th and sold out quickly. As Jamal Ahmed shows us, people who pre-ordered the gaming console were able to pick up theirs last Thursday.
Hi, I'm here in Clovis at the Best Buy, and today's the launch of the new PlayStation 5. And as you can see, people are able to walk in now and pick it up if you pre-ordered it. It feels like it's 50 degrees, but it really feels like it's 30 degrees out here. And I think that's the last thing people care about is how cold they are. They just want to get their hands on the new PS5. And I caught up with somebody who bought one earlier, and they said that they've been camping out here since midnight.
Honestly, I felt very lucky because my family, my friends struck out on it, and I pre-ordered it 4 months ago, and now this is what I'll be doing for the next 4 months.
Kevin Tyler is the owner of Blue Shell Gaming and Collections in Fresno. He says for this PlayStation, people aren't looking to flip the console for cash like previous releases.
I've been through a number of releases of different game consoles all the way back to PS2. Even when I worked at Kmart, we released PS2 came out. I think this year, or this release more than any, people are going to be buying for themselves.
Kevin says people are going to keep their PlayStations because of the time they are spending at home during the pandemic. One reason why the PlayStation 5 was so sought after was that the new graphics that they included. A lot of PS5 users that bought this have not been disappointed as they can see the difference between the PS4 and the PS5. In Fresno, Jamal Ahmed, Fresno State Focus.
If you weren't lucky enough to pick up the PlayStation 5, you should expect to see a couple more releases in December.
With the pandemic and flu season here, the California Blood Center is in need of donors.
Isha Padilla shows us more about the blood shortage and what you can do to help.
Due to COVID-19, traditional blood drives are currently not possible. The California Blood Center encourages all possible donors to come visit in person.
There's so many different types of people that need blood transfusions daily.
Donor Engagement Officer Elise Mejia stresses it is crucial to have the adequate blood supply on hand.
Blood is only good for 42 days. So we are constantly, going through blood, and we also service 19 hospitals in our Central Valley. So if donors don't come in to donate, we're in big trouble, and the hospitals are also in big trouble.
Kevin Hernandez is a regular donor. He makes it a priority to donate every 8 weeks, which is a required waiting period between donations.
It's one of the most important things that someone can do to try and help out other people, just because it's such an easy thing to do.
The process is easy. First-time donors fill out a form. Returning donors can set up an appointment online. The donation process itself takes about 10 minutes. The Blood Center and Fresno State are teaming up this week for a blood drive, which ends on November 21st. All Fresno State students, staff, and alumni will receive a free Bulldog t-shirt for donating.
Usually we have a huge blood drive on the Fresno State campus, but with campus being closed, it's really difficult for us.
The facility is taking all the necessary precautions to keep their donors safe during this pandemic. This includes mandatory masks, temperature checks, and safety questions at the door. Just a small pinch, but they do recommend you eating a few hours prior and drinking lots of water. From the California Blood Center, Isha Padilla, Fresno State Focus.
The closest donation center is a few minutes from Fresno State's campus, on Shaw and First.
You can check out other locations and future stops from their mobile unit at donateblood.org.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, the holidays are around the corner. We'll show you what the Parvarello House is doing, welcoming donations and volunteers.
Also, we'll show you why dog owners are putting their doggies on a raw food diet.
Up next, your focus on weather. It's finally starting to get cold. We'll take a deeper look on our 7-day forecast, plus an extra special Thanksgiving weekend forecast. All that when we come back.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
4 more people in space. This week's NASA and SpaceX launch to the International Space Station is historic. NASA launched a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule with 4 astronauts to the ISS for 6 months. Mike Hopkins, Shannon Walker, Victor Glover, and Japanese astronaut Soichi Noguchi. Glover is the first Black astronaut to serve an extended stay on the ISS. He is a Cal Poly graduate, by the way. This is the first time a privately owned and operated spacecraft is certified by NASA for human space flight. The SpaceX Dragon docked safely with the ISS on Monday night. And for the first time, Baby Yoda is up there with them. Let's come back down to earth now.
Here's Jonathan with our focus on weather.
It's Jonathan Garcia Espinoza here with your Focus on Weather. Let's take a look at some shots from Woodward Park earlier today. We can see nothing but gray, cloudy skies. It's also starting to get cold, so grabbing a sweater is now a must with temperatures in the low 60s. Slight breezes are definitely making it feel colder and will continue through our Thanksgiving weekend. More on that later, but first, let's take a look at our nationwide map. Overall, the weather across the country will be fairly quiet except for the Pacific Northwest. That includes Washington, Oregon, and northern parts of California, which will be rainy and windy with some snow going on. Taking a look at our California picture, we can see winds and rain showers throughout Northern California. Light snow can be seen through the Sierra Vista Mountains. Temperatures this weekend into early next weekend will be below normal. With the cold weather, you can also expect dry weather for the next 7 days. Air quality is getting better as all counties are showing moderate conditions, with Madera and Kern County as well as Sequoia National Park and Forest showing good air quality. Now a look at our 7-day forecast. Thursday, temperatures will be in the low 60s and will continue throughout the entire week. On Saturday, as our Bulldogs take on San Jose State, at Bulldog Stadium we can expect a sunny day with a temperature of 61 degrees, perfect for a game of football. Nighttime temperatures will be in the high 30s, so make sure to wrap up with an extra blanket or two. Looking ahead at Thanksgiving weekend, we are looking at a temperature of around 60 from Thursday all the way through Sunday. This has been your Focus on Weather. Back to you guys in the studio.
The holidays are just around the corner, and they are usually the busiest time of the year for travel. But this year, as COVID cases rise, people are asking if taking a trip is actually necessary. All states on the West Coast currently discourage non-essential travel. Diane Mosqueda Garcia usually takes her family out of Fresno to Disneyland, but this year she's staying at home so her family won't be at risk.
COVID is still here and people are still dying, so we decided not to go anywhere this year because of the risk.
According to the New York Times, in California alone, there are 1 million COVID cases, and the number is steadily rising. If you must head out of town, the CDC says it is essential to always wear a mask, keep a good social distance, wash your hands, and avoid touching your face or mouth. So many people are hurting right now, but a local group is working to give students something to be thankful for. If you are a student who lost your home or job because of the Creek Fire, you might be eligible for disaster aid from Calfresh. This program gives eligible students an EBT card, which they can use to get food wherever EBT is accepted. To see if you qualify, you can apply online at mybenefitscalwin.org. The deadline to apply is tomorrow.
In this season of giving, maybe helping out the community would be something you'd like to look into. The Poverello House is open to all donations and volunteer help as they get ready for their popular event, Papa Mike's Cafe.
Papa Mike's Cafe gives those not as fortunate as the rest of us a chance to experience and enjoy a hot meal on Thanksgiving.
We do a table service, restaurant-style meal, so we get to give menus out. We have bussers and we have different entree choices and things like that.
And while there is a lot of extra donations and help during this time of the year, Nolte reminds people that the Poverello House operates 365 days a year. And the staff appreciates any extra help and donations they receive throughout the year.
I always tell people, you want to volunteer during the holidays, not just on the holiday. We could use you all year long.
The community members receiving direct aid from the Poverello House are also appreciative of this year-round help. One of those people is Jasmine. She says the Poverello House is all she's known since she was a little girl.
I grew up right here, and this place has changed. In 31 years, this place has changed millions of times. But the pub has always stayed the same. It's a safe zone for us.
A safe haven. Since Papa Mike started the Poverello House in the 1990s, it's grown and expanded to its current location on F Street, helping the growing need of the community, listening with compassion and giving with a warm heart and smile.
That was Papa Mike's mantra. He passed away in 2017, but his spirit can still be felt around the Poverello House every day. To find out where to donate or how to get involved with volunteering at the Poverello House, check out their website at poverellohouse.org. Another place welcoming donations as the holidays approach is the Fresno Rescue Mission. I had a chance to speak with Matt Dildine, CEO of the Rescue Mission in downtown Fresno, about how people are able to help out. Here's more on that interview now.
And so there's a number of ways that you can get involved, and really because of COVID, this is a really important time. You know, normally what's behind me is filled with actually blankets from floor to ceiling. Down a little bit further is socks, and down a little bit further is pillows and towels. And as you can see, our cupboards are pretty bare. And that's because of COVID. Those same resources that we would get, those school drives, those places that, you know, those church drives, those business drives, didn't really happen this year. And so we're entering actually the winter season with a pretty low supply of things like blankets, pillows, socks, jackets, towels. So those are really big items that if you have them, and if you go to Costco and remember to pick up a bag of socks, those are really helpful things to us that help us do our ministry.
Okay, awesome. And then as far as the non-traditional things, such as like foods and stuff, can people bring those by in to donate also?
Oh yes, absolutely. And so we regularly welcome food donations to us. That's another thing that we are really down this year. Actually, it's probably one of our lowest years for food donations because of COVID. And so yeah, certainly canned foods, non-perishable items. Because we have so many kids here also, dairy products, baby food products are always a big thing. We have about one baby born a month here. So right now, you know, we have a bunch of diapers here, right? You know,
yeah.
And so those are all very helpful things to us during this season.
Okay, and then for people that want to get more involved or just have any more questions or want to find out how they can help out a bit more, where would they go for that?
Yeah, so the best resource is really going to our website at fresnomission.org. You can go there to possibly donate funds if that's something that you can do. You can sign up to be a volunteer or see some of the things that are happening down here at the mission or over at our Women and Children's Campus at Rescue the Children.
Okay, and then as far as any events going on, like, or things happening in November, December, is there anything big that the people might need to know about? Or
yeah, so in December, we're going to have our Christmas on G Street event, which is when we shut down the street. We have a very big community event here. This year we're going to have to do it a little bit different, but it's a time when we distribute resources, we welcome people in, try and build community for those that we serve.
It's officially fall, and the cooler temperatures are here. Agriculture workers in the fields are up and out very early. Ana Cruz Lopez shows us how they take precautions to stay warm.
As the temperatures drop in the Central Valley, field workers layer up in clothing to keep warm.
Tenemos que usar como varios suéteres, varias chamarras, porque hace mucho frío en la mañana.
Seasonal workers like Milady have to work to support their families.
Tenemos que trabajar porque si no los biles no espera.
The early mornings are especially cold, so they do what they can to avoid getting sick.
Tenemos que cubrirnos por el frío porque si no nos va a dar gripa o fiebre por el tiempo de frío.
As the day progresses and the air and the body warm up, farm workers stay cautious. To keep warm, workers zip up their sweaters, grab their bandana, wrap them around their face. They make a knot in the back. And now workers are much warmer than they would have been. Avoiding work during the chilly mornings is also sometimes possible, but it depends on the agriculture company or supervisor to approve the change of schedule.
We started little late to escape the too chilly temperature.
While the winter cold has its challenges, many workers prefer the chill over the hot summer sun. In Tranquility, Ana Cruz Lopez, Fresno State Focus.
Usually when we think dog food, we may think of kibbles. But more people are moving to the raw food dog diet: meat, bones, eggs, organs, some vegetables, fruits, and dairy. Pet owners may choose to introduce this diet to reverse some ongoing health problems or because they're trying to prevent them in the first place. Rochelle Kuikahi has had her dogs on a raw diet for 2 years now.
Make sure your dog has all the nutrients that they need. The organ meat that we add adds a lot of liver to it. We also give our dogs probiotics every day to make sure that they're getting some of those supplements too.
Vets say to make sure your dog is receiving a balanced diet through raw food. They also advise introducing your pet to the diet slowly.
Coming up, it's Diabetes Awareness Month. We show you the importance of educating yourself on the topic. It could be a lifesaver.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
You know what's odd to me? Numbers that can't be divided by 2. Good thing, this year, Math Day at Fresno State lands on November 20th. The Fresno State Department of Mathematics is hosting its 6th annual Math Day celebration. The department invites all Fresno State students to join virtually and enjoy playing math games, have lively discussion about math, and even play some Math Jeopardy! For more details, visit FresnoStateFocus.com. November is Diabetes Awareness Month. Diabetes is a disease in which the body does not make enough of an energy hormone called insulin. There are 2 types: type 1, which is often called childhood diabetes, and type 2, which usually happens to people later in life. Alan is a teenager who has type 1 diabetes. He's had it since he was 4 years old. He says educating yourself about your health is important.
Every day I do check my sugar, and I do give myself insulin shots. And the way it's impacted my life, I do take care of myself a little more, exercise every day, and I watch what I eat as well.
Diabetes can affect both children and adults. Increasing your understanding of diabetes, learning to spot the warning signs, and knowing how to prevent diabetes are crucial for curbing the diabetes epidemic.
This past Saturday, Chanelle Wapner had a grand reopening of her Clovis business. Her store was vandalized in a hate crime back in late September. Dozens of people showed up to show support for her store's reopening. Lines formed in front of her store down to the end of the street. People waited outside to shop and support Wapner. She sells handmade bath and body supplies and says she greatly appreciates all of the support.
A local man says he was racially profiled while doing his job. Cameron Foster talks with him to get the story.
It's Cameron Foster from Fresno State Focus, and today I'm going to be showing you an interview with a young man named Tracy Allen who was just a victim of racially profiled within a similar neighborhood like this.
And this actually happened to me on the job while I was working. So as you may know, like a lot of us are experiencing loss of work during this pandemic. Me being one of them, I had to leave 2 of my jobs. So I've been trying to find another job. And I was doing, I got involved in solar sales because that seemed to be something that I could actually do good at, just talking to people and getting people interested in having solar panels on their homes. And on my 4th day on the job, I went to this neighborhood in Clovis, and I knocked on my second door. And without giving away like all the super finite details, basically I knocked on the door. The wife was very endearing and kind. but a little bit short into my spiel. I want to say maybe like 10, 15 seconds into me just trying to introduce myself and tell them what I'm here for. The husband runs to the door, cuts me off, and basically yells all these kind of curse words at me and tells me to get away from his door, which is fine. I mean, it's not fine, but a lot of salesmen experience that anyway. So I just said, okay, I'll just chalk that down as a guy that doesn't want to be bothered. And I left. I walked away. I said, have a nice day. All right, I'll leave you guys alone. Started walking to my next door. I look behind me and this man is glaring at me and even following me a little bit. And so I look back at him and raise my hands like this, as if to ask, like, what's going on? Is everything okay? He doesn't reply. So I just continue walking, knock on my next door, come back because nobody answered. And he's still just following me with his eyes through his whole neighborhood. I end up going to my fourth door and I come back out and I notice that he's on the phone. And I have my fiance in the car because she goes with me on these trips and she just sits in the car while I knock on doors trying to sell. And she calls me and says, I think he's on the phone with the police. We should go right now because of everything that's happening. And I don't want anything to happen to you. Me, instantly that's fear kicking in for me, but there's also a form of anger and kind of confusion. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm here, I'm dressed nice. I'm not dressed in a quote unquote mysterious way. Obviously I'm just here on the job doing business. Why is this man calling the police on me?
Do you see a difference between racial profiling and discrimination, or do you feel that they're the same thing?
Honestly, I feel like they can be one and the same. I don't feel like those two things need to necessarily be separated. I feel like racism is racism. And if you're racially profiling somebody just because they're a Black person in a nice neighborhood and you think that they don't belong here, that's racist. If you're discriminating against somebody and you just don't like them or whatever just because of their skin color, then nonetheless, like that's racist. So both of those are one and the same, honestly. And if you're capable of doing one, then you're capable of doing the other. So it all falls under the same ladder, and that's just being racist. Anybody can try to break those down as two different things and try to make one seem lighter than the other, but they're both just as bad. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I stand on that.
That was Cameron Foster talking with Tracy Allen of Fresno. Thank you, Cameron.
The city of San Joaquin is small, but the people who live there say they are dealing with a big problem: bad roads. This is Sutter Avenue. This rough road connects to the north and south sides of the city. It is also a school bus route, but going along this road can seriously damage tires. The city received a grant from Fresno Council of Government to improve the pavement of Sutter Avenue. Officials plan for construction to start sometime next year.
We now have an updated number for the money raised on Day of Giving. It is just over $457,000. Next week on Fresno State Focus, we will be enjoying a few days off for Thanksgiving, but we will be back the following week to reminisce how our first fully virtual semester went.
Plus, we'll see what it's like for our newly graduated Bulldogs who are beginning their job hunts. Also, we show you what Fresno State Focus looks like behind the scenes.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in December.